if we are guided by the well-being of American citizens, then I believe Republicans and Democrats can work together to achieve an outcome that has eluded our country for decades.
All right, so the other huge thing that happened this week would obviously be the speech that Trump gave.
Yes. First of all, real quick, for people listening on SoundCloud that want to know what's going on YouTube, video's back up. We should be good.
We'll see.
For the rest of the... And for the people on YouTube, guess what? We're back. Hi. So you can check out this dirty sock I put over my microphone.
That's
as
gross,
a pop
dude.
Screen. It's not. It's a washcloth. Don't be gross.
Is it dirty?
So yeah, Trump's speech.
Yep. All right, so I figured that obviously it was a very well-received speech. A lot of people had mostly good things to say about it, Democrats included. So I thought we'd go through certain parts of the speech, and then we'll get to the big controversy of the fake news and the shit that surrounded it, mostly by the Republican media.
Okay.
So one of the first things that I saw, well, first off, I got to call you out on this. He says, tonight we mark the conclusion of our celebration of Black History Month. So it sounds much nicer.
No, he's like, celebrating. I'm so glad we're done with Black History Month.
We couldn't get done quick enough.
How come there's not a White History Month?
Right. So I thought that was the proper way that you should wrap that up. And he did immediately, right off the bat, he talked about the recent threats targeting Jewish centers and the vandalism of Jewish cemeteries.
Which we know about. In
being
St. Louis. Yeah, and that's a good thing. Like, I think that's a good thing. You condemn that. Should have maybe condemned it like a month ago when people were asking you about it, but that's fine. You got around to it.
Pence showed
that's
up.
good.
He came up to the state and did his shit. So now here's the funny bit.
Oh, and by the way, I mentioned last week that it took him like 100 years to figure out the number of tombstones, the dozens, hundreds, whatever.
Was it 200?
154, but it took 2 weeks to figure that out.
That's a happy medium, though.
There you go.
The other thing that this is funny because I was at Red Lobster, and that was just
gross.
It's awesome. Seafood is dope. So
Red Lobster, we got E. coli.
And now I do too. So I came back and I turned it on, and I didn't know where we were at in the speech. Apparently, we were very damn early. But the first thing that I heard him say that made me go, "Oh, dude, what are you doing?" was I turned it on and I hear, "The rebellion started as a quiet protest spoken by families of all colors and creed, families who wanted a fair shot for their children and a fair hearing for their concerns." But the word rebellion, I thought he was going to take that, Donald Trump combative
campaign
tone.
2.0.
Yeah, and I was like,
forgot
don't
that I won,
do that.
So hi, Florida.
Right. So I wasn't happy about that. But here's a part that basically came up that became part of a controversy of fake news. Obviously, it was so well received that the Dow went up about 303 points. And the stock market, what he said in it was the stock market has gained almost $3 trillion in value since the election. And he's right. Like, the markets are doing exceptionally well, and they only went up even more after this speech. What is it, 21,000 or something? It just hit and set a record and all that.
Yeah.
And I love my records.
Yeah. More than my country.
I think that's a little bit hard to argue against, that, like, the markets are doing great. Whether that goes into what we're going to be doing and how...
that's typical of Republican administrations. Like, I think
that's fair.
I don't know,
I'll give you that bit.
I don't know if it's this high because, but
I think it's because he's a businessman, and that's just a different thing.
And I think Republicans
businessmen
historically are thought of as that's what's best for business. So I think that if you look at any Republican election, you're going to see a stock market do a similar thing, maybe not to the same extent.
Well, obviously not to the same extent. It's a brand new high and all that. So yeah, I think that's really awesome. I don't think that he's wrong for claiming it. Obama consistently was like, job growth is
right. He did.
Unemployment's at this
Make
percent.
an interesting point though, that while he said it was true, but it was also BS. BS stat. He said that when it came to unemployment, 90 million people had dropped out of the workforce. Yeah, that's true, but 40 million of them are disabled. 15 million of them.
Yeah, he included disabled and whatnot.
Have are in college and
Right.
are not working because of that. Another
Now,
15
that's how
million of
I
them.
judge
So,
unemployment. To me, that's how I think it should be judged, because it makes it artificially low to go, oh, we have 4.3% unemployment, but no one's in the workforce,
Right.
which is an issue.
but you understand too that when you say 90 million dropped out,
yeah.
there are reasons for that
Right,
don't
right.
involve
Technically they did, but I get
that
that
don't
you're...
involve economic factors. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know. So
Although I will say that it made it easier for people who maybe would have tried to get back into the workforce, stay on the benefits till you
Right.
run out.
yeah, no,
You know?
no, that's fine. I'm just saying. While it's true that yes, 90 million people have dropped out of the workforce, and that artificially deflates the unemployment,
Right.
a very good percentage of that percentage.
I think the problem with that
people-
with Democrats at the time was they would constantly talk about the unemployment rate like it was some great thing when they had a huge drop in people participating in
But
the
they weren't,
in the tax
they weren't
pool,
necessarily
and
dropping.
all of their policies involve a lot of tax money. So
yeah,
you're
but they
people
weren't.
are coming out.
They weren't dropping necessarily because of Democratic
No,
policies. They were dropping.
I think they
for
underplayed the
reasons.
I think they underplayed the issue, and by that made it seem like there's no problem. We have all the money for this because people are paying for it. When
Right.
really we're losing.
But
taxpayers.
to be fair to Democrats too, literally like 3 days. I don't even think Trump had taken office. It was like 3 days after
look what I've been doing.
after the election. So still in November, still 2
Yeah.
months away from actually
He did a lot
being
before
president.
taking president, though.
Conservative radios over there like, look, Trump got elected and we're at 4.7% unemployment. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's no.
No, that's BS.
That's BS. Yeah,
Um,
because that's my whole issue is like it's artificially low. So
Right.
maybe don't do a dance over it.
You're right. So
Yeah.
that was one thing I wanted to correct Trump on, because I think that's worth pointing out.
Yeah. So the other thing that whenever I heard it, I felt like no one else really put a lot of information or well, I guess there's not a lot of information out, but put a lot of emphasis on it. But I got interested in it. He said, "We will stop the drugs from pouring into our country and poisoning our youth. And we will expand treatment for those who have become so badly addicted." And I want to know what that means.
Yeah, I wanna
because
know what
that's
that means,
interesting
too.
as fuck. Like, are we going more European, where we offer the people time to wean themselves off it, or just safe zones basically where you can go in and do the drug?
Yeah, no,
So you stay safe.
I definitely am interested in that too, because
What does that
I've
mean?
always been an advocate for, instead of imprisoning a drug addict,
Right.
get them help. But there's a way to do it.
I go
If you-
50-50 on it.
If you look at what's happened last night in Sweden,
Last night
Sweden. Last night in Sweden, they helped a freaking drug addict out, and this is how they did it. I think it may not be Sweden either.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make
it's
a joke
Europe.
here, but
Yeah, it's just Europe.
Switzerland or Sweden or one of them, where the policy is that like drugs are legal and you can go to a doctor's office essentially to do them. They'll
Right.
shoot you up with your heroin,
Yeah.
and then they'll slowly wean you off of it. You
like,
can
is
ask
that what
for
he's going
more,
for,
and
or-
they will give you more. It's medically supervised, and what happens is that the drug addict typically becomes bored getting their fix inside a white hospital room. And
I mean, they could just go get it on the street.
so but there's not as much need to get it on the street because it's
Yeah.
readily available.
I still think they'll go and get it on the street if they're
Maybe.
bored with it and like I just want to chill on my couch.
But
need
what they've
fun.
had is like a 70% success rating. With what happens is that
Well,
people go in there, they are supervised while they're doing their drugs, and then they get bored with it because they don't like being in a hospital room tripping balls. So
Right.
they make the decision themselves that this isn't worth my time and effort, and I'm wasting my time doing this.
Yeah.
They stop and they don't relapse, and there's like a 70%
Yeah.
success rating with people who stop don't end up back there. Now 70% could seem low, but I don't think it
I
does.
don't think it's low, man. That sounds pretty
I
damn good,
think-
especially in America
yeah.
where we have notoriously low
But that's because
retention
we
rates.
imprison people, and then we imprison them for 15 to 20 years, and then when they get out, what the hell are they going to do?
the rate for
Who's going to
people who
hire
come-
somebody who's been in jail for 20 years?
And the rate of people who come back into the prison system after being in there once is huge.
Right, because
Yeah.
they can't.
The number of drug
they can't
addicts-
come back into society.
Yeah, who go to these programs and then relapse are huge. Whatever it is in America, it's access of ease or what it is. but it's just too damn easy for him to do
So,
it. So
no,
I don't know what Donald Trump wants to do, if he's going to go a more European approach.
Right. I kind of hope he does because
Yeah.
I don't think.
Well, I'd hope it's not like, all right, you're doing drugs, now we deport you to Mexico because they have the better drugs. Just go down there.
Yeah.
You never know. I don't know what his plan is.
I do think though that was a very interesting point that he brought up. I'm very interested in what he could do with it, and I hope he does good things with it because we definitely. There
Why
are
include it in the
things
speech if he's not going to do something?
we should have,
you know?
in my opinion, and I hope that. Like, I hope they really look into that, and I'm glad you brought the point up, because I've always been somebody who has advocated for walk-in clinics. You
Yeah.
should be able
Yeah.
to walk off the street, insurance or no, and be like, because if you have a history with drugs, I know people who have had a history with drugs, and people who have tried to get help
Right.
on their own, by their own decision, and when they showed up, they were told, you don't have insurance? Well, it's $6,000.
Right.
It's
It's like,
$7,000.
I'm on drugs 20 hours of the day. Of course I don't have insurance.
I'm sleeping in the back of somebody's car right now. Like, I don't have $6,000 to drop on this. And
Right.
that's unfortunate because that person gets turned away.
Right.
But then somebody else gets court ordered into that program who isn't trying to and they will relapse because they didn't
Right.
want
They
to
don't
be
wanna
there.
do it.
So I really hope that they take a good look at that, because there are a lot of advances that could be made in
And
that
plus,
in that field.
I mean, we're obviously in agreement that weed, it should not be a Schedule 1, shouldn't get arrested
No.
for it. All Trump has to do, be the first president to just legalize weed before it, and millennials will vote for you. There is
Right.
a part
Yeah.
of them where that's their issue. If you're the guy who broke the chain and made it possible, they will like you.
Yeah, I don't
do it.
I don't disagree. It'll
Talking to you,
definitely
Donald Trump, do it. It's important.
it'll win votes.
Yeah, it definitely will.
It will.
So the other part, man, we've been talking about that infrastructure, but this gave me a lot of hope. He said another Republican president, Dwight D. Eisenhower, initiated the last true great national infrastructure program, the building of the interstate highway system. The time has come for a new program of national rebuilding. I think this is long before due. As soon as I heard that our nuclear codes are on floppy disks, I was like, we are fucked. That is not how that's supposed to go.
Isn't that like the same issue with the VA? It's like everything's actually on
it's
paper.
on like rotary.
Yeah, like you're actually using a typewriter to still type this shit out. Like,
Right.
come on, man.
There's a lot of shit that we can be doing, especially rebuilding roads, and that just basically goes back to helping out the states and giving them access to it. The number that Donald Trump is citing and throwing around is $1 trillion. That sounds familiar because that's the number that Bernie Sanders typically throws around.
Right.
But if you talk to Bernie Sanders, he fucking hates Trump's infrastructure bill.
Bernie Sanders has become a joke.
Yeah,
of
well, I heard
whatever
something
he was.
interesting. This Anthony Fox guy, I found it on a Rutgers article.
Racist.
That's racist. Everything's racist. Whatever, Matthews. But he basically said that the basis of Trump's infrastructure bill, and I don't know if this is 100% accurate or not, but what he's saying is that what he wants to do is actually give $137 billion in tax credits. So if you're a company who wants to build things, we give your company a tax credit to incentivize you to finish your project. So most of the cost is actually on the companies, but he thinks that it will generate $1 trillion worth of infrastructure building because they will have the means to go after these large projects.
That's interesting.
If that's true, that's fucking dope because
Yeah.
you just cut the bill from $1 trillion to $137 billion.
Yeah.
Are they going to do it though? Because when you have to rely on the private sector, they're fickle. They
Well,
don't,
and you have to rely on Congress to actually get something like that done.
I think
right?
they would. Yeah,
Like-
I think Bernie Sanders would be against it because he wants to actually spend $1 trillion of U.S. money on it. I'm okay with letting this one go. If you can do it for $137 billion, if it doesn't work, then it's gonna take 4 or 5 years to figure out if it worked or not.
If
and
it doesn't work, you're gonna have to stand on that.
yeah, and that's gonna be your thing. It didn't
and that's
work.
pretty much the case of anything that a president does. If it doesn't work, that's
Right.
you, man. That's your record. So.
But I think there's countless shit that we can be improving, and
I
we're
don't
gonna have
think-
to increase infrastructure at some point.
Yeah,
Why
I don't
not
think
do it now?
I don't think either side should argue against infrastructure spending.
It sucks. I saw it. It is the worst plan.
It creates jobs. And I think.
Did you see Bernie Sanders' response
I
to
didn't
the
actually.
thing?
I didn't watch it.
It was
I
so
read,
dumb.
I read stuff about it. I read part of the transcript, but I never liked Bernie Sanders.
I did.
and
A lot.
And I always, like I always thought that his plans were unfeasible. I didn't think he was a joke. I believed that he
Yeah.
believed
Well,
his
I like-
stuff, and
'cause-
now I don't believe that because I think he's turned
Yeah.
into a clown shadow of himself.
Well, he got
So-
bought. I mean, he at least in my opinion, I think he got bought out after the whole Hillary thing, where they were like, "You need to shut the fuck up.
Right.
We'll get you a $600,000 new home by the fucking river. Here you go."
Right.
I love being butt fucked. It was the greatest. Yeah, so he's all about that shit now. But basically, his response was just that. He was basically upset that he was not president and that Donald Trump didn't bring up income inequality, the
Shut
1%.
up, John McCain. Like,
Exactly. John McCain did that too.
yeah, old white guys that are pissed off
Yeah.
that they didn't win.
Right.
They
Well,
don't
he
have
needs
to
to be talking
white.
about
that
this.
was racist. God,
know,
reverse
dude.
racism. Hashtag reverse racist.
Jesus, dude.
So
Yeah, but that was a dumb part. Let's see here. I like this part that he said. He goes, "Everything that is broken in our country can be fixed. Every problem can be solved. Every hurting family can find healing and hope." And I thought it was important to use the word hope because that goes right back to 2008 Obama, where we believed it. Like, this
yeah,
can fucking happen.
Well, and that was my overall analysis of the entire speech. He did.
I think it worked, man.
He did elaborate on things that he had not elaborated on.
He kept most things vague.
Before. He always keeps things vague.
Right. But normally he rambles and doesn't give you the context.
So
I think the context was clear this
my
time.
analysis on that night, which was kind of unfair, but was that like, yeah, his speechwriter did a good job.
Yeah.
And
This guy was throwing shade the entire time, every 5 minutes.
that was also just to get under your skin. But that
Right.
But it wasn't a bad speech. I also think that actions speak louder than words, so let's see where it goes. I think a lot of
Right.
things that
It's
he
going to come down to
outlined-
those things. Do these plans
Right.
work?
I
Because
think
you've
a
got a
lot-
chance to do these plans.
I think a lot of the things
I
that
think they'll work.
he proposed aren't horrible things, so I think that that's all right. I'd still like, and I don't know that he didn't really even talk about the travel ban or
No,
immigration.
not
that
at all.
much. No.
Well, he
which
postponed the new draft of it afterwards because he was like,
was a
"We're getting a lot of good
smart
PR."
political play.
Yeah.
Enter Jeff Sessions.
Right. Well, if he really was a brilliant strategist, like all the Democrats say he is, he would have just released it then and just moved the narrative off Jeff Sessions and on to the next draft.
Yeah.
You know, I think that they're fundamentally changing it. I think they're not ready.
Yeah.
I really do. I think
I-
that they just they don't have it down.
No.
They took Iraq off of it, so Iraq is no longer on the banned
Yeah,
list, which
they're
makes
gonna-
sense because they're a big ally
They're
of ours
like,
now.
somebody put Rudy Giuliani in the closet. We don't need any more advice from this guy because he effed this whole thing up. So I still don't agree with that. I don't agree with it no matter how you package it. I don't think we have an issue there. I know we fundamentally disagree on aspects of that. But I think that for the most part, my analysis on that night was it's a decent speech, but
I thought it was a damn good speech.
it
I
was
really did.
It was his best speech. I still don't
Yeah.
think the bar was very high.
I think whoever said that was gonna be a good speech, though. Like, even if Hillary Clinton gave it, I would be like, I'm feeling that.
Yeah, it wasn't
feeling
bad.
what you did.
We'll see. We'll see what comes of it because
Right.
talk
So-
is cheap. So
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it. You got full power. Do it. You
Right.
have like 2 years before you start campaigning again. So
So most of the controversies came in the latter part of the speech. One of them,
Donald Trump controversy?
oh, never.
No.
But, not with Chuck Schumer, never. But one of it is, this is what he said. He said, "I have ordered the Department of Homeland Security to create an office to serve American victims. The office is called VOICE, Victims of Immigration Crime Engagement." Oh. All the Democrats freaked out as soon as he said it. "We are providing a voice for those who have been ignored
I guess I
by our
do-
media and silenced by special
I
interests."
guess I do
Name Brandon.
kind of take an issue with the word American.
I don't, because we are
I do,
Americans.
because yeah, that's fine. But we allow immigration, right?
Right.
So if we allow legal immigration and a legal immigrant is over
But
here doing something and they're let's say that somebody's here for school from like, I don't know, Asia somewhere, Japan, China, whatever.
Yeah.
And so they were like walking back to their dorm from campus and some illegal Guatemalan or something.
What do you got against the Guatemalans, man?
No, I'm illegal. alien
Your hypothetical is racist.
stabs them and robs them.
Right.
Should voice not worry about that
No.
person?
I think it's mostly set up for victims of illegal immigration, like victims of
That
crimes
person
from illegal.
would be, but they're
Yeah.
not an American, so do they not take priority?
Of course they do, but there's 1.5 million groups for that guy. We're saying that there's no group for an American voice of outrage, and they get ignored, and I think they do.
I don't know.
I don't have a problem ever helping victims
Take
of
the word
anything.
take the word American out of there, and
But why? That's the
Because
the
you're
issue.
specifying-
You are totally fine putting any other ethnicity in there, but we can't say Americans because no, we can't
no,
do
you
that.
can say Americans, but I think it should encompass more than Americans. So
But they have the other
Don't-
groups, and
don't
the regular law
specify
does
that.
that.
the federal government doesn't have other groups. Private organizations,
Right,
maybe.
exactly,
Okay.
yeah. Well,
so
we see how-
the federal
how-
government represents
well,
everybody,
come on. We see
immigrants
how-
included.
Yeah, but even still, we see how
Nah, man.
effective the federal government is. They're not. It gets lost. And I don't see an issue with having a specific group. They have it for everything else. Why not Americans?
I'll tell you
Does
why-
it hurt anyone else by having it done?
I'll tell you why I and probably those Democrats that I don't know that I would have booed it. Like I don't know that I would have acted the way they did.
All I'm hearing is I hate America.
No, you're not hearing that. That's your stupid way of twisting your patriot shit. Like
The only
that's-
word you had a problem with was America.
It is because it's exclusionary.
Everything is exclusionary
the
when you put a
federal
label on
government- The federal government represents everybody that's in this country legally.
Right.
Okay. So if you're an Asian in America and you're affected by
Another American citizen, we're gonna go with that. That's what the federal government does as well.
No,
or
I'm
if it's
saying
if it's a crime, they're gonna look into it. But this is a special one set up for people who are the victims of people who shouldn't be here, and their voices should be heard.
Right. Whether or not the person who is the victim is from China or America.
Yeah, but you have a lot of faith in the federal government taking care of.
You
that.
have a lot of faith in the federal government taking care of only Americans. Like,
well, if it's a special group, I'm going to assume that they're going to do a better job at it, just like these other groups that are set up, that are looking for things.
Well,
I don't have a problem with anyone. If you want to set up a thing for Guatemalans, go for
the
it.
federal government is the biggest entity in the country.
Right.
So when it comes, like, they
That's
should
why they're
be
inundated and it
setting
doesn't
the
work as well.
example, right?
I think that's a good example. What's wrong with this example?
It sets a good example if you take the word American out of there and say for people, for citizens, whether you're an immigrated citizen or
You're
whether
missing the
you're-
optics, though. The optics of the American in the middle class, in the Rust Belt, in middle America is they forgot about me. I'm the enemy. All of these groups have all these things, and whites are always the enemy.
So you're setting up a group to play politics?
No, I think that it lets their voice be heard, and I think it is good optics. It doesn't hurt anyone else.
So
why not have
does
it?
Does it not further your
You need to
argument?
remind the Middle America that we don't forget you. Like we have your back.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Cry me a river. First
then
of
what
all.
are you doing?
Second, or okay, so does it not further your illegal immigrants or illegal aliens are evil and scary argument
I don't make that argument.
that if an Asian person who immigrated here the right way was affected by an illegal alien,
Right.
they shouldn't be the voice of that group for
No,
you?
that's fine. Well, obviously, this is a specific segment, so they're not going to go to the Black American support group because they don't represent them. So they're not included in this because that's not the demographic. So I think that
Right,
they
but
should
that
also
is
have a
private
voice.
organization.
They should
not
also
a
have
governmental
a voice. Yeah, that's fine. Like I
organization.
said, it's specific. So if they don't meet the criteria, I don't have a problem
would you
with
have
it
a
not
problem
happening.
with it if the federal government set up a group for only white Christian men affected by illegal aliens?
That's when you bring religion into it, then I'm gonna take religion out, and I'd be okay with
Okay,
it.
white men.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
You wouldn't have a problem with the United States government only representing white men.
Well, if they did that for every race and made one for Black Americans and whatnot,
Okay.
specific groups that each one could
So
go
then
into,
make a voice for every
I'm fine with that.
nationality.
Yeah, I'm fine with
Okay.
that.
So then I'll be fine with voice being worded the way it is when all those other groups exist. Okay?
That's fine. Like I said, if you're gonna do it for one, I think we should do it for all of them. And
Or just take the word American out and say citizen, and then you cover
No.
everybody.
no, but regardless, I think that it doesn't hurt anyone. Why be against it?
Because it seemingly excludes people.
But they've got all the other groups that they can go to. Doesn't matter.
It
does exclude
Federal
people.
government sets the standard. So if the government is going to exclude people, then it's okay for private entities to do that as well.
Right.
That's the standard that you're
And
setting.
I think that you can't. And it's not like Donald Trump doesn't know anyone who can privately set this up. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
That could.
Federal government needs to
Yeah.
set the standard. So if you're
I think that-
setting up one group for Americans that are victims, you have to
But
set
it
up
is
a
the-
group
the
for
government of
every
America.
single country.
I mean, it doesn't really make sense to say that they can't set something
So
up for
then
America
they're
when they're
not-
the
so then
government of America.
Okay, so then the government doesn't make rules for immigrants. Is that your argument?
No, not for illegal immigrants. Not for immigrants. Obviously, become American citizens, and then therefore they are American, and the federal government works for them.
But what if they're not citizens yet?
Well, then we don't
They're
work
not-
for them.
So then they're not covered. So then they don't have to follow our laws either.
Of course
because
they do.
They're not,
gonna
they're
be in
not
our
citizens.
country. It's the country of the law.
Okay.
I am a free inhabitant.
Just change the wording of it, and I'm good with it.
I don't think they should change the wording at
So-
all. I think that's totally fine. So the other huge controversy was whenever Donald Trump recognized Ryan Owens, which was a soldier who was killed in the last raid. It was a big deal. He said, "We are blessed to be joined tonight by Karen Owens, the widow of U.S. Navy Special Operator Chief William Ryan Owens. Ryan died as he lived, a warrior and a hero, battling against terrorism and securing our nation." And why that was a huge deal is because it got the biggest standing applause. It was like a minute and a half
It was a
worth
good
of
statement.
I think it was a great
It
statement.
was a good. It
And
was
this
a
is
good
coming from
show.
a guy that I don't.
That one might pick up now.
Yeah, it might now.
It didn't on that other mic, but that
Right.
one might have picked up.
Right. I typically don't like whenever we pick individual people out of a collective thing and say, we're all one. Bullshit
Right.
name, whatever. I don't like it, typically.
We're all one Pedro.
I ain't no goddamn Pedro.
Turn that into a hashtag.
My name's
people.
Ferdinand. But,
All 7 of you.
right. So I typically don't like it. And there was a few other ones that Donald Trump did throughout his speech that, that was fine. I'm not going to say he shouldn't do it. I typically don't like it because I think that it plays politics with people. But this was one that even I was like, damn, dude. Like, this is pretty intense. And basically, the controversy behind it is a bunch of people, looking at you, Milo Yiannopoulos, and a few others, claimed that Democrats sat the whole time. That Nancy Pelosi, some other guy who must be a high-up guy, I'd never recognize his name, and then Bernie Sanders is what Milo included. And a lot of sources didn't run his name.
Republicans seem to forget that cameras exist.
A little bit, man. And first we only had the one feed that was played during that me and you saw. That one feed. But the White House put out other feeds, which clearly show Pelosi and all of them. Because in the original feed, you can't see what Nancy Pelosi is doing.
Yeah.
Briefly, at about 45 seconds, you can see Bernie Sanders standing and clapping. He does sit down.
Right.
So you can take that however which way you want it. But the narrative that no Democrats stood and clapped for this woman is completely false.
Yeah, it is.
And I took the time to point that out
Yeah.
on the page.
Yeah.
Because it was stupid. And the first thing I saw was Milo Yiannopoulos going, well, Bernie Sanders,
So
and
now-
then please stand up.
Now that
He did.
Now that Milo has run himself into the ground, he's just gone completely sensationalized.
I don't think he's
like-
running himself on the ground. And I still think he will be just fine. He's going to be making money hand over fist. But his content the bar has been lowered by him.
Yeah.
And I mean, it shows that the only person that could beat Milo was Milo.
Yeah.
And Joe Rogan.
And Joe Rogan. And Bill Maher. And
Yeah, I didn't think Bill Maher did it, but I
so
only watched that one bit.
People actually have beaten Milo. He's not as smart as
But he is his own worst enemy, and
Yeah.
the way that he handles things. So the other thing that he put out that pissed me the fuck off, man, was about this speech, and it had the trackings for the markets, and it showed November 8th, arrow pointing in the legitimate spot and showing that there was a huge boost in the market after he won, which is true. And then it said Trump's speech, but it pointed to like January 3rd and then showed a huge rise. And there was a huge rise that happened on January 3rd or around.
Right.
Wasn't because of his speech.
No.
So,
No, yeah.
and I called him out, and his little underlings on, the followers on the thing, they just went at me. And I had to just keep defending myself. Like, we shouldn't have to win this way. The
Right.
narrative is already good. Conservative assholes, stop fucking it up
Right.
by lying. We don't need
Fake
to do that
news.
right now.
Fake
Right.
news.
It's Republicans overplaying their hand.
But I still don't think that people should call it fake news. Call BS.
You are fake news.
Like that's fine. I don't need to hear fake news because it's dangerous. So
Yeah, that was a good part in the speech. I mean, everyone was cheering and clapping.
It was a very good part, and it was good of him to do that. And
yeah,
I don't think Michael Moore's comments about how she got
that was fucking so dumb.
How she got used for an Emmy award for the loudest applause.
Fucking asshole.
Yeah, that just I don't know. Michael Moore's a piece of crap. While we're talking about Milo, we might as well point out how the opposite of Milo.
Right, the liberal Milo, and he's the conservative Michael Moore.
Yeah.
So to conclude the speech, he finished with "Believe in yourselves, believe in our future, and believe once more in America. Thank you, bless you, and bless the United States." He left out of America.
Yeah.
I
thought
it was a great speech. I really did, man. I thought that as soon as we got done, I felt so good.
I think it was good. But I'm gonna be skeptical of Donald Trump because I don't.
It's fine to do that. I just don't like when Chuck Schumer and I mean, you saw Chuck Schumer's response, didn't you?
Yeah, I hate Chuck Schumer so much.
Immediately just coming out like, and Democrats could not wait to get out of the building.
No,
they practically ran for the fucking
hills.
hills.
I didn't think they would stay through the whole thing. I was really kind of surprised that they did. But
I didn't think they would make that type of faux pas. Like,
right?
Come on,
it would have been bad.
It would have been
awful.
Yeah. But he came out and he was just trying to think of things to say that were bad, and it took him like probably 12 hours or so for someone to write good points for him.
I wish Chuck Schumer would be replaced with somebody else.
Yeah. I think Paul Ryan is good. I don't like Mitch McConnell because he's a douchebag little turtle bitch.
Yeah, I don't like McConnell either. I do.
This kind of makes me wonder about Harry Reid and Mitch McConnell. Who the fuck thought they were going to be good at their job?
Right.